Hi YouTube, and welcome back to my lab. In the previous video, I made hydroxylamine hydrochloride, and today I'll be testing my product by making vanillin oxime. The procedure I am using is a scaled up version of the procedure from Nile Red. I am using 15.2 grams of vanillin powder, 7.7 grams of hydroxylamine hydrochloride, and 25.56 grams of sodium acetate trihydrate, along with some water as the reaction solvent. My purpose in making vanillin oxime is for two main reasons. Firstly, it will serve as a test for my hydroxylamine by making a derivative which I can easily perform a melting test on. And secondly, I also hope to make use of the vanillin oxime in a future video. To begin, I weighed out my sodium acetate trihydrate and added it into a 250 ml Erlenmeyer flask. The flask is then placed on the hot plate along with a stir bar and dissolved in 140 ml of distilled water. Next, 7.7 grams of hydroxylamine hydrochloride is weighed out and added into the flask. And lastly, 15.2 grams of vanillin are then added. A reflux condenser is then fitted onto the flask, and the solution is brought up to a light reflux, during which the vanillin slowly dissolves. Without going into too much detail, hydroxylamine reacts with aldehydes and ketones to form oxime derivatives. In this case, the aldehyde on the vanillin molecule is attacked by hydroxylamine to make vanillin oxime. Nile Red did a fantastic job in explaining this reaction and mechanism behind it, so I've linked his video in the description below and highly recommend you see it. Fortunately, this reaction is pretty straightforward, and at the end of 1 hour of reflux, the solution was then allowed to cool on the hot plate. These crystals were then broken up and vacuum filtered. Two 50 ml portions of ice cold water were then used to rinse the crystals. The crystals were then dried on low heat on the hot plate and weighed. In the end, I obtained 14.46 grams of vanillin oxime, which corresponds to a yield of 86.5%. I transferred the product for storage in the labeled glass bottle. To confirm I have my product, I performed a simple melting test on a small sample. According to literature, vanillin oxime melts between 118 and 122 degrees Celsius. From my setup, I got a melting point of between 119 and 121.5 degrees, which fits right in between that range. With this, I can confirm both my previous and current synthesis were successful. If you want to see the video where I synthesize my hydroxylamine hydrochloride, click here. Otherwise, thank you for watching and be sure to watch out for my next video.